I watched my girlfriend Janet laugh at something her first love said. The same way she used to laugh at my jokes 3 years ago. The photo on my phone screen showed them at Rosewood Restaurant, the place she told me was too expensive for our anniversary dinner last week. My friend Clara had sent me 5 photos in total. Each one felt like a knife twisting deeper. Janet was wearing the red dress I bought her for her birthday. The one she said she was saving for a special occasion. Apparently, Michael's return from London after 5 years qualified as special enough. I sat in my apartment, staring at those photos for exactly 10 minutes. No calls. No angry texts. No confrontation. I simply opened every app on my phone, found Janet's profile, and blocked her. Instagram, blocked. Facebook, blocked. WhatsApp, blocked. Her phone number, blocked. Email, straight to spam. It took me less than 3 minutes to erase 3 years of digital connection. My hands were steady. My breathing was calm. The anger I expected to feel never came. Instead, there was just clarity, cold and sharp as winter air. Clara called me immediately. "Jimmy, are you okay? Do you want me to come over?" Should I call her and, "I am fine," I interrupted. "Thanks for letting me know." Clara went quiet. "That is it? That is all you are going to say? What else is there to say?" I asked, my voice flat. She made her choice. I made mine. "But Jimmy," Clara pressed, "maybe you should at least hear her out. What if there is an explanation?" I almost laughed. An explanation for lying about working late. An explanation for canceling our anniversary. An explanation for having dinner with her ex at the most romantic restaurant in the city, while wearing the dress I bought her. "Clara," I said quietly, "there is nothing to explain. Actions do not need words." I hung up and sat in the silence of my apartment. The place suddenly felt bigger, emptier, but also lighter somehow. My phone stayed dark and quiet. Janet had not even noticed yet. She was probably still at dinner, still laughing, still pretending our 3 years together meant nothing. That was fine. By the time she realized what happened, it would already be too late. Some doors, once closed, do not reopen. Tonight, I closed mine and threw away the key. 3 years ago, I met Janet Lou at a mutual friend's birthday party. She was standing by the window, holding a glass of wine, looking somewhat out of place among the loud crowd. Her hair was pulled back in a simple ponytail, and she wore a casual blue sweater that somehow made her look both approachable and distant at the same time. I remember thinking she looked like someone who was good at keeping secrets. Our friend David introduced us. "Janet works in marketing," he said, with a grin. "Jimmy here runs his own consulting firm. You two workaholics should get along great." Janet smiled politely and extended her hand. "Nice to meet you." Her handshake was firm, professional. We talked for maybe 20 minutes that night about nothing particularly meaningful. Work, the weather, our mutual complaints about David's terrible taste in music. But there was something easy about talking to her, something that made me want to keep the conversation going. I asked for her number before I left. She hesitated for just a second before typing it into my phone. Our first date was at a small coffee shop near her office. She showed up exactly on time, wearing a gray coat and carrying a leather bag that looked expensive but worn, like she had owned it for years and refused to replace it. I like that about people, the ones who hold on to things. We talked for 3 hours that day. I learned that Janet had studied communications in university, that she had a younger brother studying abroad, that she loved old movies but hated horror films. She told me about her job, the pressure to constantly perform, the office politics she navigated daily. She spoke with intelligence and a kind of guarded warmth. What she did not tell me, what I would not learn until much later, was that she had a first love named Michael Chen. Someone who had left for London 5 years ago to pursue a master's degree and then a career abroad. Someone she claimed to be over but clearly was not. Our relationship developed steadily over the following months. We were both busy with work, so our dates were often simple. Dinner at neighborhood restaurants. Movies on Friday nights. Weekend walks through the park. When the weather was nice. Janet was not the type to be overly affectionate in public. She did not like holding hands on the street or kissing in front of others. At first, I thought it was just her personality. Her preference for privacy. I respected it. By our 6-month anniversary, we had fallen into a comfortable routine. I would pick her up after work twice a week. We would alternate choosing restaurants. She would sometimes stay over at my apartment on weekends, though she always kept a bag of her things ready to go, never fully moving in even after a year. Looking back now, I realize she always kept one foot out the door. Our second year together was much like the first. Steady, comfortable, but lacking something I could not quite name. Passion, maybe. Or gin and the intimacy. The kind where two people share everything, not just the easy parts. Janet was good at sharing her day, her frustrations at work, her opinions on movies and food. But she never shared her deeper feelings, her fears, her dreams beyond the next promotion. When I tried to have those conversations, she would deflect with humor or change the subject. "It is too late to get philosophical," she would say with a laugh. "Let's just watch the show." I told myself it was fine. Not everyone was comfortable with vulnerability. She would open up when she was ready. By our 3rd year, I started thinking about the future more seriously. Marriage, maybe. Kids eventually. I was 31. She was 29. It seemed like the natural progression. I started looking at rings. Casually browsing jewelry stores during lunch breaks. I imagined proposing at the park where we often walked, somewhere quiet and meaningful to us both. Then our 3rd anniversary approached. I made reservations at Rosewood Restaurant 2 months in advance. It was expensive, the kind of place you go once a year for something truly special. I was planning to propose that night. I had the ring in my drawer at home, a simple platinum band with a small diamond, elegant and understated like Janet herself. 1 week before our anniversary, Janet came over to my apartment. She seemed distracted, checking her phone more than usual. I asked if everything was okay. She smiled and said, work was just busy, a big campaign launching soon. I believed her. 3 days before our anniversary, she called me. "Jimmy, I am so sorry, but I need to cancel our dinner reservation." My voice must have shown my disappointment because she quickly continued. "It is this project at work. We have a major deadline and my boss is demanding everyone put in extra hours. I promise I will make it up to you. We can go next month, okay?" I wanted to argue, to tell her that our anniversary mattered, that work could wait one evening, but I did not. I just said okay and hung up, feeling hollow. That same night, David called me. "Hey man, are you free? Want to grab a beer?" I almost said no, but the apartment felt too quiet, too empty. "Sure," I replied. We met at our usual bar, a laid-back place with dim lighting and decent music. David ordered us both whiskey and gave me a look. "You seem down. Janet cancel on you again?" "Again," I repeated. "What do you mean again?" David shifted uncomfortably. "Look, I did not want to say anything, but she has been canceling on you a lot lately. And..." He hesitated. "And what?" "Spit it out." He pulled out his phone and showed me his social media. There were photos from a company event 2 weeks ago that Janet said she could not invite me to because it was employees only. In the background of one photo, I could clearly see her laughing with a tall man in an expensive suit. They were standing close, too close. "Who is that?" I asked, my voice tight. David shrugged. "No idea. But Jimmy, maybe you should pay more attention." I went home that night feeling uneasy. I trusted Janet, but doubt had planted itself in my mind like a seed. The next day, I did something I had never done before. I checked Janet's social media more carefully. She rarely posted, but when she did, it was usually work-related or photos of food. Nothing suspicious. But then I noticed she had been tagged in several photos by other people over the past 2 months. Photos from events I did not know about. In 3 of them, the same tall man appeared near her. I zoomed in on one photo and read the tag. Michael Chen. My stomach dropped. I clicked on his profile. London-based. Recently returned to the city. Marketing director. And in his older photos from 5 years ago, there were dozens of pictures with Janet. The 2 of them at university. At graduation. On trips together. They looked happy. In love. I scrolled back to his recent posts. 2 weeks ago, he had posted a photo with the caption, "Good to be home." Janet had liked it. My hands felt cold. The night of what should have been our anniversary, I sat alone in my apartment with takeout food I barely touched. Janet had texted me earlier that day. "So sorry again about tonight. I will make it up to you, I promise. This project is killing me." I replied with a simple thumbs up emoji. Around 8 in the evening, Clara called me. She was another mutual friend, someone who worked in the same industry as Janet. "Jimmy," she said, her voice careful. "Are you with Janet right now?" "No," I said. "She is working late." "Why?" There was a pause. "Clara, what is going on?" "I am at a client dinner right now at Rosewood Restaurant," she said slowly, "and I just saw Janet here." My heart stopped. "What?" "She is here," Clara repeated, "with a man. They are sitting at a table by the window. It looks," she hesitated, "it looks like a date, Jimmy." I could not speak. My mind was racing. "Send me a photo," I finally said. "Are you sure? Just send it." A minute later, my phone buzzed. 5 photos came through in rapid succession. Each one was a gut punch. Janet in the red dress I bought her. Janet laughing. Janet leaning forward as Michael said something. Janet touching his hand across the table. Janet looking happier than I had seen her in months. I stared at those photos until they burned into my brain. The betrayal was not just that she was there with him. It was the lie. The calculated, deliberate lie. She had looked me in the eye and cancelled our anniversary for work, then put on the dress I gave her and went to the exact restaurant I had reserved, with another man. With her first love. I should have been angry. I should have called her immediately and demanded an explanation. I should have driven to that restaurant and confronted them both. But I did none of those things. Instead, a strange calm settled over me. It was like watching myself from outside my body, seeing everything clearly for the first time. This was not a mistake or a misunderstanding. This was a choice. Janet had chosen Michael over me. She had chosen to lie. She had chosen to betray 3 years of trust for one night with someone from her past. And if she could do it once, she could do it again. I opened my phone and methodically went through every app. Instagram, I found her profile and hit block. Facebook, blocked. WhatsApp, blocked. Her number, I added to my block list. Her email, I set up a filter to send everything straight to spam. Each action was simple, final. No hesitation. 3 years deleted in 3 minutes. My phone immediately started ringing. It was Clara. Jimmy. Did you see the photos? Are you okay? I am fine, I said. My voice sounded distant even to myself. Thanks for telling me. That is it. Clara sounded stunned. You are not going to do anything? I already did, I said. Then I hung up. For the next hour, I sat in silence. My phone stayed dark. Janet had no idea what had happened yet. She was still at dinner, still playing her role, still thinking she had gotten away with it. I almost wanted to laugh at the absurdity. How long had she been planning this? Had she been talking to Michael for weeks, months? Had our entire 3rd year together been a lie while she waited for him to come back? My phone buzzed. It was David. Dude, Clara just called me. Are you serious? You blocked Janet? Yes, without even talking to her. What is there to talk about? I replied. She lied to me, cancelled our anniversary, and went on a date with her ex. What conversation fixes that? David went quiet for a moment. Fair point, he finally said. What are you going to do now? Nothing, I said. I am going to go to bed. Jimmy, come on. You cannot just watch me, I interrupted. Then I turned off my phone completely. I did not want to hear it ring. I did not want to see messages pile up. I did not want anyone trying to convince me to hear her out or give her a chance to explain. There was nothing to explain. I slept surprisingly well that night. No nightmares, no tossing and turning. Just deep, dreamless sleep. The next morning, I woke up at 7, made coffee, and went for a run. The autumn air was crisp and cold. My mind felt clear. When I got back home, I turned my phone on. 63 notifications. 20 calls from Janet's number. All blocked so they never rang through. 30 messages on WhatsApp that I would never see because she was blocked there too. 5 voicemails that went to a folder I never checked. 12 texts from mutual friends asking what was going on. I ignored all of it. I showered, dressed for work, and left my apartment like it was any other Monday. At the office, I focused on my projects. I had 2 client meetings scheduled and a presentation to prepare. Work had always been my refuge, the place where things made sense and effort produced results. My assistant knocked on my door around 10. Mr. Carter. There is someone here to see you. She says it is urgent. Who? Janet Liu. She does not have an appointment. I paused, considering. Tell her I am in meetings all day and cannot see anyone without an appointment. But Mr. Carter. She seems very upset. Not my problem, I said calmly. Please ask her to leave. My assistant hesitated, then nodded and left. Through my office window, I could see down to the building's lobby. 5 minutes later, I watched Janet exit through the glass doors. Even from the 10th floor, I could see her distress. She stood on the sidewalk looking up at the building, her phone pressed to her ear. Probably trying to call me again. Then she slumped against the wall, her shoulders shaking. She was crying. I watched for a moment, then closed the blinds and returned to my work. At lunch, Clara texted me. Janet came to my office. She is freaking out. Says, you blocked her everywhere and will not talk to her. She wants to know what she did wrong. I almost threw my phone across the room. What she did wrong? Was she seriously pretending not to know? I typed back. She knows exactly what she did wrong. Tell her to ask Michael. Clara replied immediately. She says it was just dinner with an old friend, that you are overreacting. I laughed out loud in my empty office. An old friend. Right. An old friend she lied to me about. An old friend she dressed up for. An old friend she took to our anniversary restaurant. Just a friend. I did not reply to Clara. Instead, I opened my laptop and did something productive. I started looking at apartments. My lease was not up for another 6 months, but I wanted options. A fresh start somewhere Janet did not know about, could not just show up at. By the end of the workday, I had scheduled 3 apartment viewings for the weekend. I left the office at 6 and went to the gym. I needed to burn off energy, to exhaust myself physically so my mind would stop replaying those photos. I ran on the treadmill for 40 minutes, lifted weights until my arms shook, then sat in the sauna until I could barely think. When I finally got home at 9, there was someone sitting outside my apartment door. Janet. She looked terrible. Her hair was messy, her makeup smudged from crying, and she was still wearing her work clothes but they were wrinkled like she had been sitting there for hours. When she saw me step out of the elevator, she jumped to her feet. "Jimmy," she said, her voice cracking. "Please, we need to talk." I walked past her to my door and pulled out my keys. "There is nothing to talk about." She grabbed my arm. "Please, just 5 minutes. Let me explain." I stopped and looked at her hand on my arm, then at her face. Her eyes were red and desperate. For a moment, just a brief moment, I felt something. Not sympathy exactly, but an echo of what I used to feel for her. Then I remembered the photos and that echo died. I pulled my arm free. "You lied to me," I said quietly. "You canceled our anniversary, told me you were working late, then went to Rosewood Restaurant with Michael wearing the dress I bought you. What part of that needs explanation?" "It was not like that," she said quickly. "Michael just got back to town and he wanted to catch up. It was innocent." I nodded slowly. "So innocent, you had to lie about it. So innocent you could not just tell me the truth. So innocent you chose him over our 3-year anniversary. Jimmy. Please." Tears were streaming down her face now. "I made a mistake. I should have told you. I knew you would be upset and I did not want to fight. So you decided lying was better." She did not answer. "You know what hurts the most?" I continued, my voice still calm. "It is not even that you had dinner with him. It is that you looked happier in those photos than you have looked with me in months. Maybe years." "That is not true," she protested. "I love you, do you?" I asked. "Because I have been trying to figure out for the past year, what was wrong with us. Why you always seemed distant. Why you never wanted to talk about the future. Now, I know. You were never really over him, were you?" "I am over him," she insisted. "He is just a friend from my past." "Then why lie? Why sneak around? Why cancel the most important night of our relationship to see him?" She opened her mouth but nothing came out. I unlocked my door. "Go home, Janet. Please." She grabbed my arm again. "Do not shut me out. Give me a chance to fix this." I looked at her hand on my arm again, then gently removed it. "You do not get it," I said. "There is nothing to fix. We are done." Her face went pale. "What?" "We are done," I repeated. "I am not angry. I am not going to yell or make a scene. I am just done." "You cannot just," she started. "Yes, I can," I interrupted. "You made your choice when you lied to me. I made mine when I blocked you. Now, please leave." "Jimmy, no," she was fully sobbing now. "You cannot do this. We have 3 years together. You cannot just throw that away." "I did not throw it away," I said. "You did. The moment you chose him over me." "I am not choosing him," she cried. "I choose you. I have always chosen you. Then why am I finding out about your dinner date from a friend instead of from you? Why did you lie? Why did you cancel our anniversary?" She could not answer. She just stood there crying, her whole body shaking. I felt nothing. That scared me a little. How empty I felt looking at her. This woman I had spent 3 years with, who I had imagined marrying, and I felt absolutely nothing. "Go home," I said again, then stepped inside my apartment and closed the door. She knocked for 10 minutes. "Jimmy, please. Please open the door. We need to talk about this. You cannot just end 3 years like this. Please." I put in headphones and turned on music, drowning out her voice. Eventually, the knocking stopped. When I looked through the peephole an hour later, she was gone. That night, I could not sleep. Not because I was upset, but because my mind would not stop analyzing everything. How many other times had she lied? How long had she been talking to Michael? Had she been planning to leave me for him all along? Was our entire relationship just something to pass the time until he came back? I got up at 3 in the morning and opened my laptop. I went through our messages from the past few months. Now that I knew what to look for, the signs were everywhere. 2 months ago, she had started being vague about her plans. Working late became her most common excuse. 3 weeks ago, she had suddenly wanted space, saying she needed time to focus on her career. I thought I was being supportive. Now I realized she just wanted freedom to see him without me asking questions. I found a message from 6 weeks ago where I had suggested taking a trip together for our anniversary. She had said maybe, but we should wait and see how work goes. She never brought it up again, because she was already planning to spend that night with Michael. The evidence of her emotional affair was all there. I had just been too trusting to see it. My phone buzzed. It was 4 a.m. A text from an unknown number. Jimmy, this is Janet. I am using my work phone because you blocked my personal number. Please, I am begging you, just talk to me. Give me one chance to explain everything. I will tell you the complete truth. Please. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me, a very small part, wanted to hear what she had to say. Wanted to understand how we had gotten here. But the larger part, the part that had seen those photos, and heard those lies, knew that nothing she said would change what had happened. I blocked the work number too. Then I turned off my phone completely. The next few days passed in a blur. I went to work, came home, went to the gym, slept. I avoided mutual friends because I knew they would want to talk about Janet. David respected my space and just sent occasional messages. Here, if you need me, man. Clara was less subtle. She called repeatedly, until I finally answered. You are being unreasonable, she said immediately. Janet made a mistake, but she loves you. You need to at least hear her out. No, I do not, I replied. I do not owe her anything. She lied and I am done. That is my choice. But 3 years, Clara protested. Does not that mean anything? It did, I said. Past tense. Look, Jimmy, I know you are hurt, but I am not hurt, I interrupted. That is what everyone keeps assuming. That I am heartbroken and acting out. I am not. I am just done wasting my time on someone who does not respect me enough to tell the truth. Clara went quiet. Then she said softly, she really is sorry, you know. She has been crying for days. She barely eats. She is a mess. That is not my problem anymore, I said, then hung up. By Friday, I had viewed 2 apartments and put a deposit on one. A nice place across town, modern and clean, with no memories attached. I scheduled movers for the following weekend. My lease allowed early termination with a penalty fee. I paid it without hesitation. Starting over was worth any cost. That evening, I was at the gym when I saw her. Janet was standing outside the entrance, clearly waiting for me. She looked even worse than before. She had lost weight, her face was gaunt, and she was wearing sweatpants and an oversized hoodie. The Janet I knew would never leave the house looking like that. When she saw me, she rushed over. Jimmy, please. I have been trying to reach you for days. I kept walking toward the entrance. She blocked my path. I am not moving until you talk to me. Then you will be standing there a long time, I said and walked around her. She followed me inside. The gym staff looked uncomfortable but did not intervene. Jimmy, she raised her voice. You cannot just ignore me forever. We need closure. We need to talk about this like adults. I stopped and turned to face her. The entire gym was watching now. Fine, I said loud enough for everyone to hear. You want to talk? Let us talk. You lied to me about working late so you could have dinner with your ex-boyfriend. You canceled our 3-year anniversary for him. You wore the dress I bought you for another man. You have been emotionally cheating on me for months. What else is there to discuss? Her face turned bright red. Everyone was staring. It was not like that, she whispered. Then what was it like? I asked. Enlighten me. She looked around at all the watching faces and her courage failed. Can we please do this in private? No, I said. You wanted to talk. So talk. Tell everyone here how innocent it was. Explain how having a secret dinner date with your first love while lying to your boyfriend is just a misunderstanding. She started crying again. You are being cruel. I am being honest, I corrected. Something you apparently struggle with. Then I walked past her to the locker room. She did not follow. When I came out 30 minutes later, she was gone. The weekend came and I moved into my new apartment. David helped me, along with 2 other friends who wisely did not mention Janet. The place was empty of furniture except for a mattress and some basic items I had ordered online. It felt good, this blank slate. No history, no ghosts. We are getting dinner after this, David announced as we finished carrying the last boxes up. You are buying since we are your free labor. Fair enough, I agreed. We went to a barbecue place nearby. Over beer and grilled meat, David finally brought up what everyone was thinking. So, he said carefully, Janet has been calling me, asking if I know where you are. I did not tell her. Thanks, I said. She also asked me to convince you to talk to her. She says she has something important to tell you. Not interested, I replied, taking a drink. David exchanged glances with our other friends. Look, man, he continued, I am on your side. What she did was wrong, but maybe you should hear her out one time, just to get closure. Then you can move on cleanly. I do not need closure, I said. I already moved on. Have you though? David asked. Because it seems like you are running. New apartment, blocking everyone, refusing to have a single conversation. That is not moving on. That is avoiding. I set down my beer and looked at him. Let me ask you something. If your girlfriend lied to you, canceled your anniversary, and went on a date with her ex, would you want to hear her excuses? David thought about it. Probably not, he admitted. Exactly, I said. There is nothing she can say that changes what she did, so why waste both our time? What if she wants to apologize? Then she can write a letter, I said, but I will not read it. David shook his head. You are cold, man. I have never seen you like this. I am not cold, I corrected. I am just done being the understanding boyfriend who makes excuses for her. She made her choice. I made mine. End of story. Our other friend Mark spoke up. For what it is worth, I think you are handling this right. Too many guys let girls walk all over them. You drew a line. That is respectable. Thank you, I said. The conversation moved on to other topics. Sports, work, plans for the holidays. It felt good to think about normal things. To remember I had a life beyond Janet and her drama. When I got home that night, I found something slipped under my door. An envelope with my name written on it in Janet's handwriting. My first instinct was to throw it away. But curiosity won. I opened it. Inside was a 3-page letter. Her handwriting was messy, like she had been crying while writing. Jimmy, it began. I know you do not want to talk to me. I know I hurt you and broke your trust. I know I do not deserve forgiveness. But please, just read this. Let me explain everything. Michael and I dated in university for 2 years. When he left for London 5 years ago, we broke up because neither of us wanted to do long distance. I was heartbroken, but I moved on. Or at least I thought I did. When I met you 3 years ago, I genuinely fell for you. You were kind and stable and everything Michael was not. I loved building a life with you. I never thought about Michael. He was my past and you were my future. Then 2 months ago, Michael contacted me. He was moving back and wanted to reconnect as friends. I said yes because I thought I was over him. I thought seeing him would prove I had moved on. But when we met for coffee, all these old feelings came rushing back. Not love, exactly. More like nostalgia. Memories of who I used to be when I was with him. He reminded me of a time when life felt more exciting, less routine. I know that is not fair to you. Our relationship is not boring. It is stable and healthy and good. But Michael represented something different. Something from before I had responsibilities and career pressure and expectations. I should have told you immediately that we were talking. I should have been honest. But I was afraid you would be jealous or ask me to stop seeing him, and I did not want to admit even to myself that I wanted to keep seeing him. So I lied. The night of our anniversary, Michael asked me to dinner. He said he was leaving town again soon for a job and wanted to see me one last time. I knew it was wrong. I knew I should say no, but I convinced myself it was innocent, just 2 old friends catching up. I did not plan to wear the red dress. I just put it on without thinking. I did not plan to go to Rosewood. Michael made the reservation. I should have told him, no, that was where you wanted to take me. But I did not. I let it happen. When I was at dinner with him, I felt guilty the whole time. I kept thinking about you and how much I was hurting you, even though you did not know yet. Michael could tell something was wrong. He asked if I was okay. I almost told him everything. That I had a boyfriend and this was wrong and I needed to leave. But then he said something that made me freeze. He told me he came back because of me, that he never stopped thinking about me, that he made a mistake letting me go and he wanted another chance. Jimmy, I panicked. I realized in that moment that I did not want Michael. I wanted you. Whatever feelings I thought I had for him were just nostalgia and fantasy. The real person sitting across from me was not who I remembered. He was arrogant and self-centered and nothing like you. I told him I had a boyfriend and I loved you and I could not see him anymore. He got angry. He said if I really loved you, I would not be there with him. That cut deep because he was right. I left the restaurant and went home and cried all night. I wanted to tell you everything the next morning. I was going to come clean and beg for forgiveness and do whatever it took to fix things. But then you blocked me everywhere. You disappeared. You would not talk to me or hear me out. And I realized I had lost you. Not because of what I felt for Michael, but because I lied to you. Because I did not respect you enough to be honest. Jimmy, I do not love Michael. I love you. I have always loved you. I made a terrible mistake, but it was not because I wanted him. It was because I was confused and stupid and took you for granted. Please give me one chance to prove I can be better. One chance to rebuild your trust. I will do anything. I will never talk to Michael again. I will be completely transparent about everything. I will go to counseling. Whatever you need. Please do not throw away 3 years over one mistake. I know I do not deserve forgiveness, but I am begging you anyway. I still love you. I always will. Janet. I read the letter twice. Then I folded it carefully and put it back in the envelope. For a moment, I sat there thinking. Part of me, that small, weak part, felt moved by her words. She sounded genuinely sorry. Maybe she really did make a mistake. Maybe I was being too harsh. Then I remembered the photos, the way she was smiling at him, the red dress, the lies that came so easily. And I remembered something else. If Michael had not told her he wanted her back, if he had not rejected her first, would she even be here apologizing? Or would she have kept seeing him behind my back? The answer made me fold the letter and throw it in the trash. Some mistakes do not deserve second chances. 2 weeks passed. I settled into my new apartment and my new routine. Work, gym, home. My life felt smaller but also cleaner, simpler. No drama, no lies, no waiting for the other shoe to drop. David kept me updated on Janet even though I never asked. She is really struggling, he told me over lunch one day. She barely comes to work. When she does, she looks like hell. Clara says she has lost almost 10 pounds. That is her choice, I said, focusing on my food. She could move on anytime she wants. She does not want to move on, David said. She wants you back. Too bad, I replied. David sighed. You really are done, are not you? This is not an act. I looked up at him. Why would it be an act? Because most people do not just turn off their feelings like a switch, David said. You were with her for 3 years. You were planning to propose. Now you act like she never existed. I did not turn off my feelings, I corrected. I just accepted reality. She lied and chose someone else. My feelings do not change those facts. So what? You are just going to be alone forever? David asked. Never trust anyone again? I shrugged. Maybe. Or maybe I will meet someone who actually respects me enough to tell the truth. Either way, I am not going back to Janet. Our conversation was interrupted by my phone ringing. Unknown number. Normally I would not answer, but something made me pick up. Hello. Is this Jimmy Carter? A male voice asked. Yes. Who is this? My name is Michael Chen. I think we need to talk. My hand tightened on the phone. David noticed my expression and mouthed. Who is it? I held up a finger. What do you want, Michael? Look, he said, his tone almost friendly. I know there has been some misunderstanding between you and Janet. I wanted to clear the air. There is no misunderstanding, I said coldly. You took my girlfriend on a date. She lied to me about it. Pretty straightforward. It was not a date, Michael insisted. We are old friends. We just had dinner. Then why did she have to lie about it? I asked. He hesitated. That was her decision, not mine. I did not ask her to lie. But you knew she had a boyfriend, I said. You knew it was our anniversary. And you still asked her to dinner at a romantic restaurant. That does not sound like just friends to me. Michael's tone changed. Became sharper. Look, Jimmy. Janet and I have history. We were together long before you came into the picture. You cannot expect her to just erase that. I am not asking her to erase anything, I replied. I am just asking for basic honesty and respect. Neither of which she gave me. So I am done. That is it, Michael said. You are just going to give up on her over one dinner? Yes, I said simply, because it was not about the dinner. It was about the lying. The choosing you over me. The complete disregard for our relationship. Any other questions? Jimmy, Michael said, and now his voice had an edge to it. Let me be real with you. Janet and I have something you will never understand, a connection that goes back years. Whatever you two had, it was not real. It was just convenient for her until I came back. Excuse me? You were a placeholder, Michael said bluntly. A nice stable guy to pass time with while she waited for me. But now I am back and she knows where she really belongs. I almost laughed. Is that why she told you she has a boyfriend and left your dinner early? Is that why she has been trying to get me back for 2 weeks? That is just guilt, Michael said quickly. She feels bad for hurting you. But give it time. She will realize what we have is worth more than whatever safe, boring relationship you offered her. I did not respond for a moment. David was watching me with concern. Finally I said, Michael, let me tell you something. If Janet wants you, she can have you. I am not standing in anyone's way. I already walked away. So if she is not running to you right now, maybe it is not me she wants. Maybe it is not you either. Maybe she just wants to not face the consequences of her actions. Good luck with that. I hung up before he could respond. David leaned forward. What the hell was that about? Michael called to tell me I was a placeholder and Janet really loves him, I said, picking up my fork again. Seriously? David looked incredulous. What a piece of work. I shrugged. He can think whatever he wants. Does not affect me. David studied my face. You are really not bothered? By what? I asked. Some guy I have never met telling me my ex-girlfriend loves him. Why would I care? She is not my problem anymore. You are a better man than me, David said. I would have driven to his place and punched him. That would just prove I still care, I said. Which I do not. That evening, I was at my apartment when someone knocked on my door. I checked the peephole and saw Clara standing there with shopping bags. I opened the door. Clara? What are you doing here? She pushed past me into the apartment. I brought you food. You have been eating nothing but takeout since you moved. She started unpacking containers onto my empty kitchen counter. Homemade stew, fresh bread, fruit. It smelled amazing. You did not have to do this, I said. I know, she replied. But someone has to make sure you are taking care of yourself. We ate together at my small table. Clara made small talk about work and mutual friends, carefully avoiding mentioning Janet. I appreciated it. After dinner, as she was packing up to leave, she hesitated. Jimmy, she said, I know you do not want to hear this but I have to say it. Janet is really not doing well. I am aware, I said. She has been calling out sick from work. She has lost weight. She barely sleeps. Clara looked at me. I am worried about her. Then you should be a good friend and support her, I said. But that is not my job anymore. She made one mistake, Clara said softly. One lie. Is that really worth throwing away 3 years? It was not one lie, I corrected. It was multiple lies over multiple weeks. And yes, that is worth walking away from. Because if she can lie this easily about something this important, what else would she lie about? Our finances? Having kids? Where she is when I think she is at work? Trust is the foundation of everything. Without it, there is nothing. Clara nodded slowly. I understand. I just think maybe you are being a little harsh. Maybe. I agreed. But I would rather be harsh now than be the fool who takes back a liar and gets lied to again. She left shortly after. I cleaned up and was getting ready for bed when my phone rang again. Another unknown number. Against my better judgment, I answered. What? Jimmy, it was Janet's voice. She sounded terrible, hoarse, and weak. Please do not hang up. How did you get this number? I asked. I called your office and told them I was your sister with an emergency, she admitted. Your assistant gave it to me. Of course, she did. I made a mental note to have a talk with my assistant about security. What do you want, Janet? Just 5 minutes, she pleaded. Face to face, I will come to you. We can meet anywhere you want, just please talk to me. No, I said. Read my letter, she begged. Did you read my letter? I read it, I confirmed. And nothing, I said. It does not change anything. I do not love Michael, she said desperately. I love you. I made a mistake but it was not because I wanted him. Jimmy, I turned down his job offer tonight. What job offer? He offered me a position at his company in London, she explained. Great salary, better title, everything I have been working toward, but I turned it down because I do not want to be near him. I want to be here, with you, rebuilding what we had. That was your choice, I said. It has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you, she cried. I am trying to prove that I choose you. That I have always chosen you. Except when you did not, I said quietly. Except when you chose to lie. Except when you chose to have dinner with him instead of celebrating our anniversary with me. Those were choices too, Janet. And they told me everything I needed to know. Jimmy, please, she was sobbing now. I cannot lose you. I cannot live with this guilt. I cannot. You are not going to die from guilt, I interrupted, my voice hard. You are going to feel bad for a while, like people do when they face consequences for their actions. Then eventually you will move on and find someone else, and this will just be a story you tell about a relationship that did not work out. And maybe, if you are smart, you will learn not to lie to the next guy. That is cold, she whispered. No, I said. Cold would be me stringing you along, letting you think there is a chance, making you suffer. I am being kind by being clear. We are done. There is no path back. Move on. Please, she said one more time, her voice broken. I hung up. Then I blocked that number too. I sat on my couch in my empty apartment and waited for guilt to come, for regret, for sadness. Nothing came. Just a sense of finality, like closing a book I had finished reading. My phone buzzed. A text from David. Janet just called me crying. Said you two talked. Are you okay? I typed back. I am fine. She needs to accept it is over and move on. He replied. She is not going to make this easy, is she? Apparently not, I wrote back. But that is not my problem. I meant it. Whatever Janet was going through, whatever pain she felt, it was not my responsibility to fix. She had made her choices. Now she had to live with them. Just like I was living with mine. And honestly, I was doing just fine. 3 months passed. Winter arrived, bringing cold winds and early darkness. My new apartment became home. I bought furniture piece by piece, each item chosen just for me. A comfortable couch, a desk for working at home, proper kitchenware. I was building a life that belonged entirely to me. Work was going well. I landed 2 major clients and my firm was expanding. I hired an additional consultant and was considering opening a second office. Throwing myself into work had paid off, professionally, even if it had started as a distraction. David and I started a routine of weekend basketball games with some other guys. Physical activity, competition, friendship with no complications. It felt good to sweat and laugh and think about nothing deeper than the next shot. I dated a little. Nothing serious, just coffee or dinner with women I met through work or friends. I was upfront about not looking for anything serious yet. Most understood. One woman, Lisa, asked me after our second date why I seemed so guarded. Bad breakup, I told her simply. Still processing. She nodded sympathetically. Take your time. There is no rush. But Lisa and I both knew there would not be a third date. I was not ready, might not be for a while. Through the grapevine, I heard updates about Janet. She had finally accepted that we were over. She threw herself into work the same way I had. Clara mentioned she had been promoted, was traveling frequently for her job. Good for her, I said, and meant it. I did not wish her ill. I just wished her away from my life. Then one Friday evening in December, I was at a coffee shop near my apartment, working on a proposal, when someone sat down across from me. I looked up. It was Michael. Before I could react, he held up his hands. I am not here to cause trouble, he said. I just want to talk for 5 minutes. Then I will leave and you will never hear from me again. I considered telling him to leave immediately, but curiosity won. I closed my laptop and leaned back. 5 minutes. Start talking. Michael looked different than I expected. Tired, less arrogant than he had sounded on the phone months ago. I owe you an apology, he began. For what I said on the phone. For interfering in your relationship. He paused. For a lot of things. Okay, I said neutrally. Why the sudden conscience? Because Janet told me the truth, he said. About everything. About how she turned me down. About how she has been in love with you this whole time. About how I misread the situation completely. I did not respond, just waited for him to continue. When Janet and I dated in university, it was intense but immature, Michael said. We were kids playing at being in love. When I left for London, I convinced myself she was the one who got away. That I had made a huge mistake. So when I moved back, I reached out hoping to rekindle something. He ran a hand through his hair. But the truth is, the Janet I remembered did not exist anymore. She had grown up, built a career, built a life. And that life included you. I saw it at that dinner. She talked about you constantly. How stable you were, how kind, how you supported her career. She was trying to convince herself we were just friends, but really she was reminding herself why she loved you. Then why lie to me? I asked. Why go at all if she loved me so much? Michael shook his head. Fear of confrontation, maybe. Fear that you would ask her to cut me out completely and she did not want to admit she was not ready to let go of the past. I do not know. People do stupid things when they are confused. That is not an excuse, I said flatly. No, it is not, Michael agreed. She hurt you. She broke your trust. I am not here to make excuses for her. I am just here to tell you that she does love you. She always has, and losing you destroyed her in a way I have never seen anyone destroyed before. That is unfortunate, I said. But it does not change anything. I know, Michael said. And I am not asking you to take her back. That is between you two. He hesitated. I needed you to know that I was wrong. About everything. You were not a placeholder. You were the real thing. And I interfered in something I should have left alone. I appreciate you saying that, I said. But why tell me this now? 3 months later. Because Janet asked me to, Michael admitted. She is leaving. Moving to Singapore for work. She leaves next week. She wanted me to talk to you one last time, to make sure you knew the truth before she left. She could have told me herself, I pointed out. She tried, Michael said. Apparently, you have blocked so many numbers she ran out of options. Plus she thought hearing it from me might mean more. Proof that it was not just her trying to manipulate you. I sat back, processing this information. Janet was leaving the country. Part of me felt relief. Distance would make the complete break easier, more final. Part of me felt nothing at all. Tell her I hope Singapore treats her well, I said finally. Tell her I forgive her for what she did, because holding on to anger serves no purpose. But also tell her that forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. I wish her the best, but from a distance. Michael nodded slowly. That is fair. More than fair, actually. Is there anything else? I asked. He stood up. No. That is it. He extended his hand. For what it is worth, you are a better man than I gave you credit for. I shook his hand briefly. Take care, Michael. You too, Jimmy. He left. I sat there for a while, staring at my laptop without really seeing it. Janet was leaving. This chapter of my life was truly closing. I felt oddly peaceful about it. That night, I was at home when my doorbell rang. I checked the peephole and froze. Janet was standing there. She looked better than the last time I had seen her. She had gained back some weight, her hair was styled, she was wearing a nice coat. But her eyes were sad, resigned. I opened the door but did not invite her in. Hi, she said softly. Hi. Michael said he talked to you. He did. I came to say goodbye, she said. I leave for Singapore on Tuesday. I heard. Congratulations on the new job. Thank you. She looked past me into my apartment, taking in the furniture, the life I had built without her. It looks nice, she said. Thanks. An awkward silence fell between us. Finally, Janet spoke. I am not going to ask you to take me back. I know that ship has sailed. I just wanted to see you one more time and tell you I am sorry, for lying, for hurting you, for taking you for granted. You deserved so much better than what I gave you. I appreciate that, I said. I also wanted to tell you that you were right, she continued. About everything. I was not over, Michael. Not because I loved him, but because I had never properly let go of that part of my life. I was holding on to who I used to be instead of embracing who I had become. And that was not fair to you. No, it was not, I agreed. But I hope you have learned from it. I have, she said quietly. Losing you taught me more than any relationship ever did. About honesty, about respect, about not taking people for granted. I will carry those lessons with me. Good, I said. Then it was not all for nothing. She smiled sadly. Always so practical. It is one of the things I loved about you. She paused. One of many things. Janet, I said gently. What do you want me to say? Nothing, she replied. I do not want anything from you. I just wanted you to know that loving you, being with you, it was the best 3 years of my life. Even if I ruined it. Even if I do not deserve any grace from you. Those 3 years mattered to me. They mattered to me too, I said honestly. Past tense. She nodded, tears forming in her eyes but not falling. Past tense. We stood there for a moment, two people who once meant everything to each other now just strangers with shared history. Take care of yourself, Jimmy, she said finally. You too, Janet. She turned to leave, then stopped. If you ever find yourself in Singapore, she said without turning around. You have a friend there. If you want one. I will keep that in mind, I said, knowing I never would. She walked away. I watched her get into the elevator, watched the doors close. Then I went back inside and closed my door. I poured myself a drink and sat by the window, looking out at the city lights. 3 years of my life, over. A relationship I thought might lead to marriage, ended. I waited for sadness, for regret, for the urge to run after her and say we could try again. Nothing came. Just quiet acceptance and a strange sense of freedom. My phone buzzed. It was David. Heard Janet came by. You okay? I typed back. Yeah. I am good. Really good, actually. He replied. Proud of you, man. You handled this whole thing with more dignity than most people could. Not sure about that, I wrote. But I survived it. That is what matters. The next few days passed normally. I worked, exercised, spent time with friends. Tuesday came and went. Janet's flight to Singapore left without me thinking much about it. On Wednesday evening, Clara called me. "She is gone," Clara said. "Left this morning." "I know," I replied. "How do you feel about it?" "Honestly, I feel fine." Clara was quiet for a moment. "You really are over her, are not you?" "I think I was over her the moment I saw those photos," I admitted. "Everything after that was just closing doors that should have been closed already." "That is probably healthy," Clara said. "Though I will admit, part of me hoped you two would work it out." "Why?" I asked, genuinely curious. "Because you seemed good together," Clara said. "When things were good, you really were good. But when things were bad, I finished, they were terrible, and I am not interested in riding that roller coaster again." "Fair enough," Clara said. "So what now?" "What do you mean?" I asked. "What are your plans?" "Move on. Date when I feel ready. Focus on work and friends and building the life I want," I said. "Pretty standard post-breakup recovery." Clara laughed. "You make it sound so simple." "It is simple," I said. "It is not easy, but it is simple. People complicate things by holding on to what is gone instead of looking toward what is coming." "When did you become so wise?" Clara teased. "When I stopped letting my heart make decisions my brain should be making," I replied. We talked for a while longer about nothing important, then said goodbye. I hung up feeling content. Life was good. Not perfect, not without its complications. But good. Solid. Mine. 2 months later, I met someone new. Her name was Rachel, she worked in finance, and she had a laugh that made me want to keep making jokes. We met at David's birthday party. She knew nothing about Janet or my past. I was just Jimmy to her, a guy who seemed to have his life together. Our first date was coffee, simple and easy. Our second was dinner and a movie. By the third, I realized I was genuinely interested in getting to know her better, not just as a distraction but as a person. "Rachel," I said over dessert, on our fourth date. "I should probably tell you I got out of a serious relationship about 6 months ago. I am okay now, but I wanted you to know in case that is a red flag for you." She considered this. "How serious?" 3 years. "We were talking about marriage." "What happened?" "She lied about something important." I ended it. She nodded slowly. "Are you over her?" "Completely," I said. And I meant it. "Then it is not a red flag," Rachel said with a smile. "Everyone has a past. I am more interested in your present and future." I smiled back. "I think I can work with that." Life moved forward. Spring came, bringing warmer weather and new opportunities. My business continued to grow. My friendships deepened. Rachel and I took things slow but steady, building something on a foundation of honesty and respect. One evening, almost a year after Janet had left, David and I were having drinks at our usual bar. He raised his glass in a toast. "To surviving," he said. "And to thriving," I added. We clinked glasses. David studied me for a moment. "You know, when this whole thing first happened, I was worried about you. You were so cold about it. I thought you were just repressing everything and would eventually have a breakdown. But you really did just move on," David said with something like awe. "You cut out the infection and healed clean." "I would not say clean," I corrected. "I have trust issues now. I probably will for a while. But I am working on it." "How is Rachel?" David asked. "Good," I said, and felt myself smile. "Really good, actually. Think she might be the one," David pressed. "Too early to tell," I said. "But I am open to the possibility. And that is progress." David nodded approvingly. "Good for you, man. Seriously. Thanks," I said. "For everything. For supporting me through the whole mess." "That is what friends are for," David said. Then with a grin, he added, "Plus, it gave me great stories to tell." "I am glad my pain could entertain you," I said dryly. He laughed and ordered another round. We sat there in comfortable silence for a while, just two friends at a bar, living their lives. My phone buzzed, a message from Rachel. "Thinking about you. Hope you are having fun with David. See you tomorrow?" I smiled and typed back. "Definitely. Looking forward to it." I put my phone away and looked around the bar. Couples on dates, groups of friends laughing, individuals sitting alone with their thoughts. Everyone living their own story, facing their own challenges. A year ago, I had been in one of those dark chapters. Betrayed, angry, hurt. But I had made choices. Hard choices that hurt in the moment but led me here. To a place of peace and possibility. To a future I was building on my own terms. Sometimes the best revenge is not dramatic or violent. It is not public humiliation or elaborate schemes. Sometimes the best revenge is simply living well. Moving on. Refusing to let someone else's mistakes define your happiness. Janet was in Singapore, living her life. I was here, living mine. We had both moved forward, just in different directions. And I was okay with that, more than okay. I was happy. The bartender came over. Another round. David looked at me. What do you say? One more, I agreed. Then I have to head out. Rachel and I are going hiking early tomorrow. Look at you, David teased. All domestic and healthy. Shut up, I said, but I was smiling. The bartender poured our drinks. I raised my glass. To new beginnings, I said. To second chances, David added. To learning from the past without living in it, I finished. We drank. Outside, the city lights glowed against the dark sky. Somewhere in Singapore, Janet was probably sleeping. Somewhere in the city, Rachel was probably getting ready for bed. Maybe thinking about our hike tomorrow. And here I was, present in this moment, at peace with my choices. The story with Janet was over. It had ended badly, painfully, but it had ended. And in its place, new stories were beginning. Better stories, built on stronger foundations. Stories where I knew my worth and would not settle for less than I deserved. I finished my drink and stood up. Ready? David asked. Yeah, I said. Let us go. We left the bar together, stepping out into the cool night air. I took a deep breath, feeling alive and free. This was my life now. These were my choices. This was my happiness. And I had fought for it by having the strength to walk away from what was hurting me and toward what could heal me. It had taken time and pain and difficult decisions. But I was here now. On the other side. And it was worth it.